first name Wolf, W-O-L-F, and the name is E-H-R-L-I-C-H, Ehrlich.
And who were your parents?
Parents, my father's name was Leib Ehrlich.
And when was he born?
So that's me in the 80s, 88, 89.
And where was your father born?
Tomaszów Mazowiecki, Poland.
And what big city is that near?
The next big city is, I think, the Lodz, Litzmannstadt, German Litzmannstadt.
Lodz.
Yeah.
And your mother, where did your mother come from?
Mother's born in Pilz.
And when did your mother and father meet? When did they meet?
This is so usually this is always like a shot from the shidduch. Yeah.
An arranged marriage. When
Yeah.
did they get married?
So it was 20 years. Uncle Meyer was 60 years, 80 years old when he passed away. Let's say 2 years before. I think the age was in 1890s.
The 1880s, 1890s.
Yeah.
And you told me they moved to Bendin, Poland, Bendin. When did they move to Bendin?
From Pilz, województwo kieleckie, Pilica, heißt noch Polish, haben sie gemoved to Bendin.
What year?
Oh, this would be in the, let's figure this out, I think in the 18, between 18 and the 19.
In the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah.
They moved to Bendin.
Yeah.
And what did your father do? What was his profession?
One time he was represented the company from Seif. Soap, yeah.
What did he do with the soap?
Chiclitzer soap. He was a salesman.
And who did he sell to, retail or wholesale?
Now to stores.
And where? In Bendin or in Pilz?
Around in the was Katowice, Sosnowiec, Będzin, Dąbrowa.
This is Poland.
Yeah.
This is southern Poland?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long was he a salesman for the soap company?
He was, I think, 3-4 years, and then he had another job. But before, the first when he married, he had a store, was selling tobacco, stamps, office equipment. I still remember when we came into the house, there was a big advertise in Russian, the Russian cigars and things. A salesman. The father was always writing calligraphic. He was not writing, no, printing calligraphic.
By hand?
Yeah. Then later, Pap was a salesman and Mom was a sales lady. She made for, somebody get married. There was, I think, the one side or the other side have to buy all kinds of what they needed for a young couple, So the mom,
A hope chest, a keston, a chest,
yeah,
a hope chest.
and they give out for payout. Let's say it was the stuff what they bought 100 mark or 100 zloty, the payment to make $5 a week, $10 a week, and I used to go collect the so I pick always the rich tea. You know why? Because I came for collection. They give me $5 the pension and a piece of chocolate or an apple or an orange.
How old?
It was a public school only for Jewish people, and there was this the city kept it to the school, but there was a small who can afford to pay 5 zloty, 10 zloty, 2 zloty. And the mostly didn't pay nothing.
How did they run the school?
The city paid for the teachers. And there was a school, when you walk in, you have to take off the shoes and put the papuchas in, not to scratching the floors.
What?
There was just a few years before the war started, the Poles started to boycott the Jewish stores. One was, the name was Pristarova.
What year?
Anacharny. This was in between 20s and 25.
They started to boycott the Jewish stores? Why?
Because they hated the Jewish people. They were standing by a Jewish store, and a Polak wanted to go buy in, said, don't kupuj Żyda, don't buy by a Jew.
And this started in what, the late 20s? 1929, 20, what years?
No, this is before the war started. This is the 1925.
And what happened? No one did anything?
No. Then we had a main chief from the police. He was very friendly to Jewish people, and he walked around and say he chased away the people, not allow them to stay before the stores.
After, when did you have religious training? Was there religious training Hebrew school also?
Oh, yes, separate Hebrew school for girls and separate Hebrew schools for men.
So after the day school, when did you go to Hebrew school?
After because school was till 1 o'clock. And between 1 and to the afternoon, they could go to a cheder, I think they changed it to Jewish information.
So the books were all in Polish in the public school?
Everything in Polish.
And the language was also Polish?
Also Polish.
And the teacher was Jewish, but Polish Jews, yes?
Yeah, Polish Jews. 90% was Jewish. 95% was Jewish speaking.
Who was your favorite teacher?
He was his brother was a big movie star. One religion was teaching. The name was Boyarski.
Was your favorite teacher?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he was a friendly, was joking, and everybody liked him.
How many kids were in the class usually?
Oh, there usually used to be between 30, 35, different what class. Starting there was less, but later they started to be in all higher class, the more students. And every year you receive a, how you call this, I think the marks of your parents.
And who was your best friend in school?
Yeah, close, like Ehrlich said, Nürnberg, he is very sick. He is now in a home. The Nürnberg, there was in the city, I think there was 8 or 10 children. They have a factory from meat, hot dogs and things.
And he was your best friend? What was his first name, Nürnberg?
Simon Nürnberg. Way, our cemetery was from the city, let's say 2-3 miles. So we had a wagon. They put the dead in a box and a wagon. But by him, when he passed away, Mr. Nürnberg, he was a big donate. There were 3 miles. There was carrying him, and they changed, the
funeral.
They changed but not the same six people. The 6 people would carry every 10-15 minutes. Another 6 people. Until they reached the cemetery.
And where did he? And did you have another best friend, or he was your best friend, Nürnberg?
The closest to him. We were together before the war, we were together during the war, we were together after the war.
With your best friend? Did you go to parties, or what did you do?
We called the students would finish the public school, we made a special gathering once a week. They called the Absolventen.
The what?
Polish word Absolventen.
Absolvent?
Yeah, Absolventen means the students would finish the school, get a keep organization.
And what did you do when you had a meeting?
We was talking, thinking, And in this school, as the book say over there, I was playing in the band, in the school band. I was playing on piccolo, a flute, you know, piccolo or flute. That's how I was playing. And the main teacher was from the Polish army, was in Bendin, was a man what they take care for the band.
The band leader.
The band leader was a Polish Mr. Rotter. When the war started, we find out, we showed him he was wearing a uniform with a Hakenkreuz.
Was a Jew?
No, a Polak.
A Polak.
But original, he was a German. We find out that he was a German in 1939.
So
You know, the director of the school, no, we never hired him. He took us every day was a holiday, a Polish holiday. He took us to the synagogue, and he was between. Was playing the hymn and the Jewish Hatikva was playing, and in between.
So he was a nice man.
He was a nice man, but later we find out he was a crook. He betrayed us.
When did the band play? Yeah.
The band, I tell you, when was a holiday, a Jewish holiday, a national Polish holiday, with the flag, the Polish flag and a Star of David, and we march route to the synagogue. Oh, our synagogue that was famous and all the whole war.
What was the name of the synagogue?
I don't remember the main what painted the synagogue inside. The thing was Appelbaum, a famous paint. The Chazan is changing every 2 years.
Who do you remember? Who do you remember? What was the biggest rabbi, the most famous rabbi in the synagogue?
Kratzbart. I was together with him in Auschwitz. We were sleeping together on one couch. He was beautiful singing, a very good Chazan.
He was the chazan or the rabbi?
Chazan.
Okay, who was the rabbi then?
In the synagogue was not a rabbi, he was a chairman, a president, a vice president.
And who was the chairman?
It's changing, every year they're changing, by voting.
And in the band, was it a marching band? Did you march around?
Oh yeah, a marching band, a big band.
How many people in the band?
Oh, in the band, oh, it'd be maybe 30, 35 people.
And how many survived the war?
Oh, I have a picture, so I can figure maybe 6, 7 people maybe.
From 30 people, 7 people made it. And how many are alive today?
Yeah.
A few alive today still?
Yeah, still alive today, a few.
Who was your first girlfriend?
Yes, I think...
You're the parents.
And the parents know me. I was the youngest home. There was, so I was 18, and 16 was Jacob, and 12 was my sister, and 10 was her brother. The oldest, Oklmaya, was on 1910. So
Okay.
every 2 years was a different thing.
So give me, now what's the name? Give me the names of Uncle Meyer.
Uncle
Meyer
Meyer,
Ehrlich was the oldest.
Yeah.
The
Then
next.
come my sister,
Okay, Uncle Meyer was born what year?
1910.
The next.
Then come a sister, Machla. This was Mania in Polish, 1912. And then come the third, 1916, Jakob, the fatherless father. And then came Rosa Ehrlich, 1916. And then I came 1918.
You're the youngest.
Yeah. That's what I was calling for the Visgrobek. Visgrobek being the fetish that there's no more children.
Okay, back to, and where did you go on a date? Were you allowed to go on a date?
Yeah, this was a special park. This was Gura Zamkova was the name.
Gura Zankova.
Yeah.
In
We
Bendin,
met, yeah, over there is a zamek in a schloss,
a castle.
a castle, yeah.
And you went there on a date? Why?
And I was over there at the child Marcelo.
You told stories?
Yeah.
And how long did you date the girl?
It's changed, I think. It's 2, 3 months with that, then it's got another one. Yeah.
Anyone serious?
No,
Not serious.
no. Was specialized for some couple
When they got married.
and she supplied all a big problem. Mean everything what is drapes
hope
and
chest,
things, all the whole
linen.
thing. And why they bought from mom? Because mom give to make the payments. They didn't support to pay one time.
Who did they pay? Your mother or your father?
They didn't pay. No, I and my sister.
You
Every
collected?
Friday we went out collection. I picked up I get a piece of chocolate with an apple, and my sister picked up the other part.
And who did you give the money to? Your mother or your father?
This was just the one thing. Then we started.
Who did you give the money to? You gave it to the mom or you gave it to your father?
It's no different, my
Okay.
father. And then we started before the war. We gave up. This father was not more salesman, and mom was nothing. And we started to make. My brother went to Warsaw and brought some leather.
What year?
And this was 38, 35, 34. And he was making rucksack, for the
Backsacks, rucksacks,
Yeah, and then for the lawyers, for the thing, leather
attaché case.
attaché thing, this was making.
And how much did it cost to make and how much did you sell it for?
We was not selling private, we was selling, there was in Katowice was a big, like Volvo Tier, a big
Department store.
a department store. And we have some friends, they recommended us and we deliver all our merchandise to this department store.
How far is Katowice from Bendin?
All Katowice in 40 minutes by train, 20.
And how did you move the merchandise? By truck, by train, by
No.
carriage?
The merchandise, the leather, what we needed to work, they came from Warsaw by express. We had already an express train in Benji. Took, I think, an hour or hour and a half from Warsaw to Benji. Before, with a regular train, take 3-4 hours. We teach us, it was a special thing. Like I told, always they ask me, my friends were asking, what was he doing now? I say we have a fabric from leather goods. We had 200 people, 210 people was working in our place. But we have not so much to work. The 10 was working steady, and the 200 was standby. They have to come every day to stamp the register card. Yeah, they was making, let's say, this cost zlotys, a week, 30, 40 zloty a week.
And what neighborhood did you live in Bendin?
Oh, we live in a nice neighborhood, Plac Trzeciego Maja 7. And in the center of this place was standing a monument from the Polish, an angel standing, and like he shoot out from a gun. And the point from the thing was standing an angel.
And what was the purpose for the monument?
The Polish army put us out.
For World War I?
Yeah. When the Germans came in, the first thing they bombarded the Republic.
So this was the nicest part of Bendin?
Yeah.
And who were your neighbors?
Oh, we had good neighbors. There was, in this neighborhood, the rabbi used to live over there. Is Ishmael Levin. Ishmael Levin was before the war, the same that put out to the government in Polish. And his father was the rabbi for Benji. Again, this was two organizations, Aguda and Zionisten and Rev Zionisten. They always argue, think.
Okay, so was the Zionist and who else? The Socialists or the Communists?
We have communists too. We have socialists, we have the Bund.
So who was the two groups, the Zionists and who was the other group?
The top was the Aguda and the Mizrahi.
And what did you belong to? Your family, what did they belong to?
My father was belonging to Aguda.
And you lived in an apartment?
No, I rented apartment.
But you had 5 brothers and sisters and mother and father. How many rooms did you have in the apartment?
See, when my brother was 80 years old, he already
Meyer?
Yeah, he already rented privately.
So Meyer left when he was 18.
Yeah.
And what was he doing with that he could afford to leave?
He was working the leather goods, the boss.
He was the...
And my wife's Hanka's father was the best dressed men in Benji.
Was Meyer a salesman, or did Meyer only make the leather goods?
Yeah, he was specialized. He was, let's say, bring the leather from Warsaw. The leather is not straight like this. It's thing, so he straightened out, pet it, and give it to finish.
And after it was finished, your factory sewed the leather?
Yeah, the whole thing everywhere went to Katowice.
Okay, so Meyer... Okay, and what was Jakob doing, the other
Jakob
brother?
was working in a wholesale metal was selling.
Why didn't he work with the leather?
Because over there you get more paid.
And what did you do with the money? Did you keep the money, or did you give your money to your mother and your father?
No, his life was always he had the best bike. Let's say a regular bike was $50.
Yanko,
and he bought it when Benton was 150, 200 zlotys.
And this was, what was the name of the bike?
Branton.
Yeah. Was an English racer? What kind of bike?
Was made of not in Poland. Was put it together, but the parts was imported from things. And the funny thing, when he went to work, and he left the bike, was standing in the back, and we opposite where we live was a big place, or it used to play soccer.
Soccer.
So I took the bike and go over the thing and was driving around inside. Then when I come back, I was cleaning 2 hours that he don't recognize that I use it. But one time I went over and the bike fall down. And he come out and find out that's I was using the bike.
What did he say?
Well, what I say? Screaming, that's a thing. To have a telephone in Benjamin, not everybody could have a telephone.
So your grandfather had a telephone.
Why? Because they were dealing with overseas and I think a big business.
And when did your grandfather pass away?
My grandfather passed away, I think I was 1918. He must have passed away in 1916 or 17.
Do you remember?
In Pilt.
Is the Matsaiva in Pilt, so you don't know?
No, wait a minute. My grandfather, I think, still maybe in the Ben. Yeah, I think in Bendin, Chelach. There was the cemetery.
So Matsaiva is a gravestone?
There used to be a gravestone, but the German didn't touch nothing. The war started, this on the old Polak, old city, Benjin, Dombrova, Katowice, they took the Matsaiva and made steps.
When was the first time you and Hanke, your cousins, did you fight as children or did you get along?
No, I tell you, she was not different, how you call this, okay, with different friends, and I have different friends. Because she went to school with the gymnasium school, and I went to public school. So gymnasium school kept gymnasium friends, and public school kept public school friends.
Gymnasium was private school.
Yeah.
And why did she go to private school and why did you go to public school?
Yeah, the first you have to finish public school, then you can go to ring.
So, yeah. But she's younger, so she finished public school and then she went to the gymnasium?
She didn't finish, she went right away to the gymnasium. And
before the war, were you friends or just, what did you do before
like
the war?
relatives, they say for holidays at Purim or something, she came dressed up like for a thing. And she came out one, and she was nice dressed up, and my sister gave it, oh, I like the best dressed this year. But the police, one policeman he was so strict, because Sunday you don't support to keep up my store. And his mother had a grocery store. If she keep open Sunday, the son give her a ticket, because she kept him. The name was Konopka.
So, before a few years before the war, things were relatively peaceful. You could make a living, you could work.
Yeah, there was you walk out on a holiday like Passover, was a main street thing, and the girls and the boys and the older people, all dressed beautiful. Everyone will show up on the boat for the holidays.
Was there a Jewish section or just was the main street in town?
Benjin was 80%, 90% Jewish. And now where we was living was every house had a janitor put up. That's it.
And you said you lived in an apartment. Why? Could Jewish people buy property, or was
You
better?
could buy, but it was expensive.
So you couldn't afford it, or your
No.
father would afford it?
Was less better to buy it, to rent it like you buy.
And how many rooms was in the apartment?
It's different what kind of order.
Your apartment, how
Yeah,
many
it
rooms?
was a big kitchen, a dining room was 2, and a big living room.
And how many bedrooms?
No, it's not. It was thing.
Where did people sleep?
Maya was not. Maya was never. He was either was 80 years old. He left home and rented a condominium.
Where did everyone sleep?
There was three beds, and one to open up and put it in the night, close it.
And how many rooms altogether?
There was 3 rooms.
Just 3 rooms?
Yeah.
And how many bedrooms? Altogether, 3 rooms?
Yeah.
And where was the bath, side or outside?
Well, downstairs is about
Okay, inside or outside?
outside.
Outside. Was an outhouse?
What?
An outhouse, a separate house, a bathroom outside.
Yeah, it was a special section for the thing.
What?
Nobody. Later on, before the war, or 2 years before, people started to put in canalization. This means we didn't have water in the you couldn't, if you want to make, you didn't have the connection to the water. When they made it the connection with water, then people started to put in toilets with everything.
What happened in the wintertime? You had to go outside to go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Was it cold?
Oh yeah. But Hannah, she, her parents, they rented in a beautiful, beautiful one house that was built for a man what used to be in the toys for children. There was one from the beautiful, nice, expensive homes. So they left over there where they used to live, and they bought it over there by, show the picture in the book.
And how did you take a bath or a shower?
No, there was a special place to go take showers in bed, not in the house.
Where?
Every 2-3 street. They called it Wajnia Powszechna.
And in the wintertime?
In the winter time you had to wash inside.
And about water inside, you had to carry water in? Wasn't any pipe?
Was a time you have to carry it, but later, 2-3 years before the war, we have already water in the house.
And who brought the water into the house?
Was a special, a Wasserträger they called it, a man what to carry it. With the 2 things.
Buckets.
Yeah, he bring you 2 buckets of water. You pay for a bucket 20 groschen, 40 groschen for.
And you drank the water? You drank the water and you bathed in the
It
water?
was good water.
How about heat? What did you do for heat? Coal? What kind of heater did the building
Coal. We was living on the coal. From Nassau away to the
Silesia.
Dombrova Górnicza means people would work at the coal mines. You dig 10 foot deep, you have coal.
Okay, where you have a central heater? Where how did you heat the house? A steam?
No.
Hot water?
Every house had a cover,
Tile?
they put in coal thing, and this heated up, closed it up. It was keeping a whole day warm.
They heat the water or?
No, they would keep warm the house.
What did they heat? They burned the coal, but then what did they heat? Usually heat water or what?
To keep warm, but separate, you put it, only you won't keep warm water, you have to put on the stove to make hot water.
Okay.
But the hot heat is a cover. But Mom lived over there, they had already automatic heat.
What kind of automatic heat?
Yes.
How was automatic? Pipes or radiators? Or
Radiators.
Radiators, or the hot water.
Yeah.
Was it cold in the winter? How cold did it get in
Oh,
Bendine?
went to Poland the 6th, the Cope. Poland very, very cold.
How cold in the winter?
Oh, like here it's below zero.
For how long? Months and months?
Now, sometimes a day, sometimes a week, and sometimes a day, and snow.
And how's the summertime? Better?
Oh, summertime was beautiful. The trees and everything. There was a nice living in Benjin. There's a famous town in the history, Benjin.
And when did you first hear there was going to be trouble? You said you moved your parents out of Bendine. When did you first hear? When did you know there was going to be trouble?
The Germans came in, showing Hakenkreuz and thing, and we have a German what he was dealing with us, and he said, look, I think bad times is coming. If you can somebody live here, don't stay here. Up my third, we put it to Lublin in the train. The first thing I pulled, wrapped the head for my father.
Why?
Why? Because I Jew, I will get us in Kappelisch.
So what was the plan? You got him out of Bendine. What was the next step? To Russia? To Switzerland? What was the next step?
No, stay in Lublin. Why?
Why?
Because it was a safe place. They was working for the Poles. Then the Germans took off the Polish flag. They put up a German flag. And the people see a German flag. And with a Trojan, so in the Trojan there was not a really born German, but I think he speak all languages. We give him a piece of gold or something. He allows what to do.
Okay, this was before the start of the war or after the start of the war? After the war of his Germans already?
When the war started,
yeah,
they came to Lublin.
Okay, but when did you move your parents? Before the start of the war?
Before it started.
Okay.
They was already in the factory, in the Garbarnia. Then the Germans took over. But they didn't chase them out because they need them until it was figuring, until everything was known. Then they tell them, go out.
Okay, so they were stuck in Lublin, they couldn't get out. So what did they think was going to happen? The war started, and what happened?
Then we took him, because we had over there 3-4 horses we had in the Garbarnia. So with a special man what was treating the horses with a wagon.
Who owned the horses? Your horses or someone else?
The horses, no, belonged to the factory. So he said, you know what, come over here, I take you to a colony. From Lublin away is maybe 10-15 miles, and we came and find out it's a German colony. Every house had a Hakenkreuz thing, but they didn't bother.
What do you mean? They didn't bother you?
They didn't bother the Jewish people. But later, older than war scared. So I decided, I received a call and said, Wolf, you on the list. Tomorrow they take you to the book.
How old were you?
How old I was? I was at 1939, I figure 1918, 1920, 39, 21 years old. They checked me, the doctor checked me. Oh, I go to the army. He said, oh no, the weight is not good, the eyes are not good. They give me to stay again, other channels mean come again next year, maybe you can use it the next year.
For the Polish army?
The Polish army.
So they didn't take Meyer? Why did Meyer go?
Meyer had trouble with his eye.
So the only one
they
they
sent it to Krakow to a special doctor, the army, and they let him go because he don't see on the left eye. This is in the family. Everybody, the left eye have a problem. I have the left eye problem too.
So Meyer didn't, so only Jakob went into the army?
Oh, Jakob was in the cavalry on a horse. In the army was the thing was in the city, in Benjin.
And how many Jewish officers were there?
They had over there, the highest one was a captain, no major, no thing. It's the highest one to give it two stars. Have a lot of Jewish soldiers, Benjin soldiers.
When did you hear the war started, that the Germans invaded Poland? When did you know it for the first time?
Right away. You see, the war started, in 3-4 hours we had shooting in Benjin. the cars, the jeeps, there was already in the burned the synagogue.
How far are you from the German border?
From one section we was away maybe 10 miles away.
So hours the Germans were inside of Bendin already. Yes? You said that within hours you heard shooting already.
Sure we were shooting. Planes was running over, I think the 3 small planes were shooting.
What did you do?
Hiding. I can.
And the rest of the
And
family?
we had a bunker
Where was the bunker?
under the house.
But you had an apartment. How did you have a bunker under the house? Was it a cellar?
No, not in this one. We were then this time we moved it from
You sent your parents
we have to
out?
move out. When the parents are out, we have to move it out.
Okay, where did you send your parents to Lublin? Where did you go, and where did Meyer? Where did the brothers and sisters go then?
Me and Maya was running together to Lublin, but we came to our uncle Uncle Frederick in an hour away from us. Maya said, "Look, Wolf, you won't go. I don't go. You need money. I'll give you some more money." So I need more money because I want to buy again a new bike. I bought again a new bike. He went back.
Why?
Because he says no use to run. And he wasn't benching. Then he survived because he has a lot of friends over there.
Meyer had a wife and children before the war. When did Meyer?
One baby.
When did Meyer get married? What year?
Oh, 2 years or a year before the war.
Do you remember his wife?
Yeah, sure.
Who was his wife? His first wife?
Oppenheimer. You know what? The baby, when the Germans took us to make selections. You know what is a selection? You are good, you are bad. So my sister, when that selection you have to go in, the doctor was sending, go left, go right, go left, go right. And my sister, she said, took Maya's baby and keeping on. She was a beauty, my sister. And the doctors tell her, throw away this scheiße, throw it for the baby, throw away.
What doctors? German doctors?
Yeah,
Polish
German
doctors?
doctor was saying like Mengele.
They were making a selection?
Yeah.
Okay.
The doctor told her, look, throw away, then you go to training, so you're going to get just chamber. She said no, and she went in and she went with the baby to crematorium.
Okay, this was your sister?
The younger sister.
Okay,
and
why?
The older sister, the older one, she wasn't trained, and somebody from the OKO, this means that they was against the Germans, with their guns, somebody shoot it, and then was maybe 40, 50 people in this Kettelwagen, and they took machine guns.
The Germans?
Yeah, and cutting
To retaliate?
left and right.
Because
and they cut it, they told me one what was together, they cut it my sister in half like this, with bullets.
Why did where was Meyer's first wife that she had to give the baby to the sister-in-law? Why did she do that? Where was
This
Meyer's?
was not Maya's baby.
Whose baby was
Wait a
this?
minute, this was, Maya's baby.
Why did your
First
sister have Meyer's baby? Where was Meyer's first wife then?
She was already selected to go to Auschwitz.
How old was she?
Oh, she maybe be 28.
They took her first.
Yeah.
And they didn't take Meyer?
No, Maya was always something, he had a lot of connections. Where to,
And he couldn't
during
say-
the war and after the war, I think he was a lot of connections.
What was the name of his first wife?
Hella.
Why didn't he have connections to help Hella?
You ask him a good question. How my brother-in-law was the chief police from the Jewish firm, he couldn't save my wife, my sister. You ask a good question.
So
One time there was a selection, we was in bunker, and my brother Jakob came back from Arbeitslager, he was by the German. We brought him back. And he said, he comes, now you have to go out because the main selection, all bunkers they know. He took a hatch, a hatch,
hatchet.
and put it in the tank here. You see, if I see something again from my family, the first German SS man, I chop his head off.
And who was this, Jakob?
Yeah.
And what happened?
Nothing happened. If something would happen, They shooting us right away. The whole family goes right away.
Okay, so they took the two sisters. When did they take Jacob? Jacob was in the military. You said they captured him in
then after the military. Then they took him to Auschwitz, but on the way to Auschwitz he jumped off the
He
train.
escaped.
Yeah.
And then what? To the partisans?
No, he went into a German
The
farm,
farmhouse, right.
and he was working like a Ukrainian, not a Jew.
But you told him you got him back to either Lublin or to Bendin.
Bendin, they don't want to.
Okay, how did you get him back to Bendin after the war started?
Who, Jacob?
Jacob, yeah.
Jacob was this time in Lublin was a big, the old Yateses, when they win the war, the Germans don't win the war, when they went to Russia, it was a special place for Polish Jews soldiers. And then they said to Białopolsce, they figured out on the way this is a 20-hour march, they would shut them off. And that's what they shut the whole thing. And some survived or ran away in the dark.
That was Jacob, he got away.
He jumped from the train, that's the thing.
Okay, but then he got back to Bendin,
yeah.
and then what happened?
And then he was working, I think, for a company, I don't know, I think.
What, a labor camp or private company?
Private thing.
Okay, so no one was arrested. You were working in Poland.
I was working for a company, like Mom is, she received no pension. I was working for Kruppwerke. I was making kennels we was making.
And
I was cutting steel. You know, cutting steel.
And it's the same Krupp that makes the coffee makers today, yes?
No.
The same company? Not
No,
the same
this is
company? A different
ammunition
company?
only, Krupp.
Munitions only, Krupp.
On the Krupp.
Okay, so how do you go to work for Krupp? Were you selected?
For now she's the selected people. By coincidence, they took me, the doctor was looking at me, I say, no good. And I say, if I don't go out, so the next day I go out through the chimney. And they picked up this section, this section, this section. The last section, the doctor was tired. So I jumped in, and he said to the men who would write the names, the last 50 men, write down the names and give it to me, because they know there's calculation. And then they check, then my registration was in the old block. And I jumped into a friend block. They took the men what write the ink, he put in 20 on his with a neck, I think. And what can I do? What can I help? The main thing, I have a bit muscle. Belly doesn't move. I paid $100. The man would give in a piece of bread like this. I give him every time $100 to give this. And they sign it in Jewish, that's a receipt. But one day came, they picked him up and right away to Auschwitz, got to the script.
Both, mother and father. Okay, and when did they pick you up?
They didn't pick me up.
Or they arrest you? When? How did you get to Auschwitz? When was the first time the Germans took you?
1942.
The Germans
There
took
was liquidation, no more Jews in Auschwitz, no more Jews in
Okay,
this
up until from 41 to 42 doing, working?
Working, yeah, for
and
the
it was
Germans.
a German company,
Yeah,
Krupp,
yeah.
and you were cutting metal.
Yeah.
Okay, when was the first time they took you to work for the Germans?
This was in February, in March.
A 40?
But 40, yeah. We was making, we copied a Russian tank, we copied.
Okay, and was a big factory, Krupp.
Oh, Krupp, that's the biggest thing, Krupp. You know the funny thing, one time Krupp, he will say he wants to look around how he made a special scar, here on his face, he made a scar. Then I asked I had a friend, he was a communist, my German main boss. So to see, like in Germany, this son of a bitch, he never goes to the thing, he makes special, that the people see that he came back from he is not fighting. That he show up is a big thing.
Krupp, you mean?
Krupp, yeah.
Now, the factory was where? In Bendin or Lublin?
No, and close, not far away from Poland, in Breslau.
And how far from Bendin?
Now Bendin is 2-3 hours.
So when did they take you from Bendin? They took you from Bendin to Krupp?
Now they put me to Auschwitz. In Auschwitz came a doctor, he
selected you to
selected
work.
people for Kruppwerke.
When did they take you to Auschwitz?
In March, April
Of 1940.
1940.
And you were in Auschwitz, and what were you? You were selected to what, a work group?
So right away they picked up, they asked you a question, what he was doing at home, what he was doing later, how you know something about steel cutting. I say, okay, I can do it.
Where did you know how to cut steel? It's a specialty to cut steel.
The short, that's the reason. We had a man, the Meister, he was a communist. So that, look, do it, what I tell you, if you do it, you'll be all right. But if you work against, then you lost. So he showed me one time, you see, today the cannons is different, and 50 years back was different cannon. This is the cannon. And here came out the how you call it?
The gun, the bullet, the cannonball.
And I was making this piece, this is a piece steel. I was digging the hole, cutting, and then I have to make oval, you know.
Bevel it, yeah.
Bevel have to make. This was my work.
What was
but
it?
The Meister told me, look, Wolf, the Czech, the French, the Italian prisoners, they're stealing for you because if I think to give me 50 on an estimate thing, but if they steal, they have to pay, and they take away the pay the thing. So always when I went to Pissoir thing, I took the steels and keep it in mind.
Now, when you say the steel, you mean the tool you were working with.
What cutting.
Now, what were you
We have to take them, but not if this was stealing. They were private, they was not sleeping in like we.
Okay, you were working on a drill?
Like to Lublin, I stopped it in a place, it was dark, and this was the Polish thing, the Wisła. And Polacks came in with light, and later, Jew, come with us, Jew, come with us. But I was wearing a Polish hat with a Polish attitude. And I didn't answer nothing. If not, you know what I was doing? Took you on the bridge where the water was running, took you naked, throw you in the bridge in the water.
What year?
That's what they finished.
The
But it was
Polish?
running 1939. Poles done this.
To say, before you worked for Krupp, you worked for someone else also.
Yeah,
Who did
for
you work
somebody
for?
else.
Who?
This was a small company.
A German
A
company.
German, yeah.
What were you making for them?
Over there, all kind ice boxes, not electric, you know, ice boxes, inside metal thing, and then we made some all for the soldiers, some quick service thing.
And then you went to...
A German, that factories like Rostner, that uniforms, shoes. And
Where did you live when you worked in the ghetto?
we had this section was selected, the Jewish section in the ghetto.
And how
See,
many-
the Poles was living here, and the Jews was working, was living in this.
And how many people to a room, the Jews?
Oh no, they can put in. Some places was in one room 5-10 people. So they went to it. In the morning go to work, and in the evening go to sleep.
7 days a week or 6 days a week?
Saturday.
7 days a week. Ever any time off? No.
Hmm?
They ever give you a time off, a few hours off?
Yeah, Christmas time. They give you a Kruppwerk, they give you this sugar, they give you a challah, they give you cigarettes.
And what happened to Krupp after the war?
Who knows? So after the war, I complained. They sent me $1,000. They sent me
Krupp? Or
Yeah.
the German government?
from the German government. What the Krupp paid us.
$1,000?
Yeah.
For how many years' work?
What do you mean? The people took Krupp paid the government.
Right, but you didn't get it. The Germans took the money. You didn't get the money.
The German gave me $1,000, and they say this is because I was working for Kruppwerk.
So how many years did you work for the $1,000? How many years? 2 years? 3 years?
No, then later after then I see what I see the pension was now is because I was working for Kruppwerk. They signed, I have my papers.
So how many people that you worked with survived the war?
Oh, you can count. They survive a lot, but half is already gone already. That sickness and thing. The main thing I tell you in my life is the whole life during the war was with Nissan,
Luck.
luck.
Uncle Jacob, Uncle Jacob.
And Jacob's, he was working too for other company.
What did Uncle Jacob do, Uncle Jacob?
A long time he was in a company, was working building autostart, cars that can travel. He was our main supervisor.
When did you know that you were going to be free? Did you get news that the Americans and the Russians were winning? When did you find out that the war might be over?
We always listen. Was people that have some radios where you was, and the radio was located, you know where, in the toilet thing, in the where. Toilet. What was that toilet? It was a hole with a big thing, and you come in to check. You go in. You have to 2 minutes. You have to be finished. Come out. But behind it was two from prisoners. I don't know, was Jewish or Polish. They have a radio in it.
Where was the electric, or was batteries?
Battery electric. No, electric.
Where
Where we sleep was electric. Was electric.
Where can you get batteries during a war for a radio?
As you can see, we can get it. I just brought one time for my friend, I think, he was in the office working, 2 bottles of beer.
During the war?
During the war. From Kruppwerk, because they have, not to serve for us, but for the Czechs, for the French, for the Poles, for the thing, they have how you call, not a store.
A canteen.
A canteen, yeah, you can buy.
But not the
because
Jews.
they receive money, Kruppwerk paid them.
But not the Jews.
Not the Jews.
The money that went to the Jews went to the Germans,
Yeah,
or to the
to
Polacks.
them.
So when did you know that you're going to be free?
We was this man because the Germans start to treat us a little bit different.
Better or worse?
Now it's better because they come and say, Wolf, I think the time, pretty soon the time will change. Don't worry.
What happened?
Sign morning, they ran away, they left us alone.
Who ran away? The Germans?
Yeah, they
Where
started
did
to
they
chase
go?
us. They started to chase us and from one town to another town.
Who chased you?
That's it.
The
In a town, Stam Street by Marine. We saw the first American tank with a color soldier with a black cylinder who
Top
was
hat.
throwing champagne, chocolate, cigarettes, not packages, but cartons. Take it. And I know that mostly, you know what trouble was? When they was throwing this out, the people catch it and the diarrhea killed them. But I caught biscuit.
Biscuit?
Yeah.
Powder?
And I went to a farmer, I was eating biscuit with milk.
Now, who was the farmer?
I have picture of farmer, Whitman, a farmer with a
Polish? A Polish farmer?
No, a German farmer.
A German
Yeah,
farmer? Where? In Poland?
This wasn't Poland where it was liberated. We was liberated in Germany.
Oh, so the Germans took you from Poland to Germany.
Yeah.
What part of Germany did they take you to?
To Breslau.
Breslau, and you were
Yeah,
liberated in
Kruppwerk.
Breslau.
No, we was chased out from. We left the factory from Breslau because they started bombarded the factory. So we left from town to town, until they say they put out white flags right away, and then we know we're free.
What did
Then
they
I
ask?
find out, they told me, look, Wolf, you're sitting here in this town by the farmers, and your brother's a big man in this city. Why go to see him? This was 50 kilometers away where I was liberated.
No.
And Meyer was already in Munich, a big man.
Already?
Yeah. He was liberated before me.
Okay, so the day you were liberated, what happened? You were in Breslau, Germany, and what happened?
Now we start to look around. I didn't take care. I only once told the farmer, look, take care of me. And we put a sign in all languages because they came in, Russia came in, and French and things, wrapped them and things. If we put a sign, nobody can say, okay. They fixed my legs. They was using pig fat to rub my feet.
What was the matter with the feet? Blisters? Swollen?
No, swollen.
Swollen. Pig
Yeah.
fat on your feet, and it helped?
The pig fat was helping, yeah.
Okay, so you ate the biscuit and milk for how long before you could walk again?
I was over there by this farmer. I was maybe 4 or 5 weeks. And then I went to Munich I met Meyer. Then start to change right away, start the whole life changed different.
How much did you weigh when you were liberated?
Oh, I weigh maybe 80, 90 pounds.
What happened to the SS? Did they run away?
A lot of was shot and robbed, and they ran away. They changed. So you know what? Every assessment had a civilian clothes with a shovel. They went to the woods, dig a hole, buried his uniform, and put up the thing. But every SS have here a mark, SS thing. He couldn't hide. And the women SS had here a mark.
Where?
Here, around by the leg.
On the leg?
Yeah, between the legs and leg.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
So the SS ran away and they were shot? Okay, so the farmer, you ever went back to that farmer?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
I went to St.
When?
Well, maybe half a year back when I was liberated. They treat me very good. They give me to eat, they cook for me special thing. I showed you once the picture, showed it. With a long, he always carried a knife, you know. He was an old-fashioned farmer. I have think knife.
A hook knife.
Yeah. You ever see, I put my horses on with a wagon and I take it, oh no, I go by bus, already bus. But he wants to put on a horse with a wagon, take me to Munich.
Where did you get money for a bus?
Hmm?
Where did you have money for a bus?
A farmer didn't give it to me, somebody. No, there was a special organization, a small town. The German people, if somebody needed something, I still have the papers but I'm laying over there.
So,
I came to Munich.
So you went to Munich on the bus?
Oh, you know who is it, your brothers here? There was a section, like this section town. You cannot get in. And Uncle Meyer was living in this section with two friends.
Now, when did Meyer get out of Hungary?
This was a whole different story.
Okay, so you met Uncle Meyer then?
Once Uncle Meyer met him for one day when he was running in one concentration camp. And he had to give me some chocolate, to give me some cigarettes, and the next day we separated us.
You didn't smoke. What did you do with the cigarettes?
I sold it for something.
So when you saw Uncle Meyer, what happened?
Oh, he was crying, I was crying. For sense of who was still alive, she did.
So what happened? Did you figure out who was still alive? Who did you know?
Who could know?
I'm asking you. What did he know? What did you know?
We didn't know.
Did you know Jakob was alive?
No, we didn't know because later on we find out.
Yeah. So all you knew is you and Meyer.
There's a precious place where I find out that Kessel, Arloser by Kessel, they keep a list from the concentration camp people, where they was, what they was doing. I have the address. I sent it to them. Then they made another trouble. I was listed in the concentration camp early 1920.
Your birthday.
Birthday. And I was liberated. I say to the thing, look, what shall I do? We have here in Munich, I mean, look, don't worry, I take care of this. And why shall you lose 2 years, think Social Security? And he fixed me and he charged me, and now from this time I sit back at normal 1918.
1918 you were born, so your birthday is August?
August the 28th, 1918.
1918. So you and Meyer, you got back together again, and then where was Meyer living in Munich?
Well, I told you the best section of things was not everybody could get in this place.
Did you move in with Meyer?
No.
Where did you live?
I rented as a different.
What did you do for money? Jewish organizations gave you money, or Meyer gave you money?
Yeah, I made an application for them to give me some. They want to send me to a camp, a Jewish camp, the UNRWA. I said no. If you can give me some help to give me some money, and I go private. And I went in. She was 16, 17 years old.
Mom, you're talking
yeah.
about. Okay, where was Mom after
She
the
was
war?
the English son.
The English
He was
son.
the American son. Mm-hmm. And she was looking, and he came special to find out how I'm doing. And he said, well, I already this time when he came, I was already nice dressed and have some pocket money. I went there for every week for mask, face, makeup, and think. We say, okay, you don't mind, he have 3 cousins, and 2 weeks later he brought Hanka.
And what the 2 other cousins? Who were the 2 other cousins?
What?
So you took in Hanka right away?
No, he came to first find out if she can come here, or we not only to come here, or we can support her.
And then what did you say?
And then he smelled out as to a few dollars already. He called up, don't worry, I'll be in 2 days, I'll be here.
Okay, so he brought you Hanka. And what did you do with Hanka?
And I told her things, say, look, she came, she had $2 in the pocket here, and then dirty clothes and everything. I took out and I said, look, let's go to first how you call this, take away the whole clothes, clean it and wash it and thing, and then we went to Hertie, Kaufhaus, we bought everything new. And so started the whole thing. And then the next year, in 1946, we married.
So you knew Mom, well, you knew her before the war, but you actually dated for about a year and then you got married. Okay, did you live together before you got married?
Yeah, we lived all in a small place on Sendlige Straße. But we couldn't get in over there, in this neighborhood. But later, I just rented our Herr Polizeiratbauer, a big, he was the main police chief in Munich, you can imagine.
And he helped Meyer?
No, yeah, over there I moved it in.
Oh, you moved in over there?
Yeah, with you.
Okay, and you moved, no, before you got married, you moved in with Hanka, your wife?
Yeah.
And then you got married?
Yeah.
And then I
In
came.
Munich,
Okay.
in 1946.
I saw pictures of the wedding. It's a lot of American soldiers.
Yeah.
Who came to the wedding?
Oh, a lot of people. I tell you, it's a lot of, no more life.
What year was the wedding?
46.
46.
Yeah.
And where was the wedding?
In a German restaurant. But special made kosher thing.
And where did
I
all
showed a picture thing.
where did all the American soldiers come from? You didn't know all the American soldiers. How were they
Find
guessed?
out there's a Jewish wedding they came. They know there's good food, good thing.
How many Jewish soldiers showed up?
No, we have only, the main chief was a captain, what was his name, I forget it. He was rough kind. Already maybe 150 or more, 200 people.
How long was the wedding?
Oh, it was special good food, not food like thing, but food, good, kosher cook. There was a special cook came to the restaurant to make it.
Did you go on a honeymoon or you just went back?
Yeah, we went right after the wedding.
Where did
We
you
went
go?
to Garmisch-Partenkirchen.
For how long?
Hier in Garmisch-Partenkirchen. You sit over there at the table with a nachttop.
Skiing too, skiing also.
Yeah.
So how long was the honeymoon?
Oh, 2-3 weeks. Because we have to organize what to do, where to do, what to make, and what to